Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. If you are really looking to boost your CELPIP speaking and writing scores, well, today is your lucky day, because we're taking a highly strategic virtual house tour. Together, we are going to master the high-frequency indoor vocabulary that examiners are literally waiting to hear to evaluate your lexical range. You can kind of think of this as our shared blueprint for navigating everyday household scenarios with absolute 100% confidence. Okay, let's dive right into this super common anxiety. Picture this. You're right in the middle of the test, that clock is ticking down, you're staring at a picture or trying to write a property management complaint, and suddenly, boom, your mind completely blanks. You know exactly what the object is, but you just can't remember if it's called a range hood, an exhaust fan, or something else entirely, like a smoke sucker upper. Well, this explainer is designed specifically to help you avoid that dreaded mid-test freeze and keep your fluency score exactly where it needs to be. So here is our game plan for today's explainer. First, conquering the CELPIP picture description. Second, kitchen vocabulary and maintenance scenarios. Third, living room and spatial layout. Fourth, bedroom and bathroom details. And finally, house structure and emergency strategies. Let's get right to it.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, picture description, and how to build a truly systematic approach.
So to really crush speaking task 3, which is where they ask you to describe a scene, you absolutely need a systematic approach. You can't just randomly list the stuff you see. First, you need to visually anchor the room by locating an item. Second, utilize a really strong spatial preposition to give it some context. And third, deploy specific high-scoring vocabulary to actually name the furniture. It's a precise 3-step formula that examiners absolutely love, mostly because it demonstrates such clear spatial organization.
For example, instead of just saying something basic like, next to the table, try using a phrase like, adjacent to the kitchen island, there is. Wow, right? That immediately elevates your response. It signals to the examiner that you have a firm grasp of both spatial layout and specific interior vocabulary, and that instantly pushes your answer into a much higher scoring band for precision.
Moving right along to Section 2, kitchen and maintenance, where we'll look at the vocabulary you need for complaints.
Now, a really fantastic way to remember all this vocabulary is to group related items in your head. It's like a mental filing system. On one hand, you have machines that plug in, your air fryer, your induction cooktop, and your range hood. And on the other hand, you have built-in fixtures, things like the backsplash, the countertop, or the kitchen island. Categorizing your vocabulary just like this makes it infinitely easier to retrieve during the intense pressure of an exam. It ensures you hit the specific nouns that the prompt is demanding.
Now, what if you have to write an email complaining about a massive kitchen disaster to your landlord or maybe a building manager? These right here are your absolute highest value target phrases. You don't just say, the water's broken. No way. You specify exactly what went wrong. You say the faucet is leaking or dripping. The kitchen sink is clogged, or maybe the garbage disposal is totally broken. Precision here is exactly what pushes you into those higher bands for task fulfillment.
Okay, let's step into Section 3, the living room and layout, focusing on those spatial descriptions.
So by contrasting your everyday furniture, things like a sectional sofa, a recliner, or an ottoman, with actual structural interior finishes like heartwood flooring, crown molding, and baseboards, well, you gain this highly comprehensive vocabulary. Honestly, anyone can say couch or floor, but actually using terms like ottoman or pointing out the baseboard, that shows true fluency and a really deep understanding of standard North American home features. And here's a major pro tip. You can literally lift this exact sentence template when you're giving advice on home renovations in speaking task 1. You should consider installing recessed lighting to make the room look brighter. Recessed lighting, which you might also know as pot lights, is a fantastic, highly specific vocabulary phrase. It perfectly fits a scenario where a friend is asking for home improvement advice, and it just brilliantly showcases your lexical range.
All right, let's head down the hall to Section 4, bedroom and bathroom, where we'll get into some highly specific vocabulary.
Notice how using terms like fitted sheet and memory foam mattress adds this incredible layer of precision. Typical test takers completely miss this when describing a bedroom scene. Instead of just falling back on bed and closet, you can seriously impress the examiner by describing a duvet, a chest of drawers, or a walk-in closet. It is exactly these micro details that maximize your vocabulary subscores. Moving into the bathroom and laundry room, we honestly find an absolute goldmine for those maintenance complaint scenarios. Just imagine confidently explaining to a repair person that you have a broken flushing mechanism on your toilet, or maybe a clogged lint filter in your clothes dryer. Or perhaps you need to complain about a low-pressure shower head or some dirty grout on the tiles. These are incredibly common, real-world scenarios that CELPIP loves to test you on, and nailing these terms is a surefire way to stand out from the crowd.
Finally, we've reached Section 5, Structure and Emergencies, which includes my absolute favorite exam survival tactic.
So it is absolutely crucial to master the mechanical vocabulary for a house. We're talking about items like a circuit breaker panel, a thermostat, or a smoke detector. These show up all the time in property management scenarios. Think about it. If a power outage pops up in a task prompt, knowing the word circuit breaker panel is essential. Or if security is the topic, mentioning a deadbolt lock shows exactly the kind of functional, everyday vocabulary the test demands.
Okay, let's dive into this essential bailout strategy. Because, let's be real, what happens when panic suddenly sets in and you completely forget the exact word for that thing on the ceiling or that machine on the wall? Do not freeze up. You pivot immediately to safe, general substitution words. Broad terms like device or fixture are going to be your best friends in an emergency to keep your narration moving.
By pairing a general substitution word like device or fixture with a really strong spatial preposition, you keep your grammar tight and your fluency score high, even when your memory completely fails you. Saying the fixture on the ceiling needs to be replaced sounds infinitely better than stuttering through an awkward pause just because you forgot the word for smoke detector, right? It keeps your sentence grammatically correct and, more importantly, naturally flowing.
As we wrap up this explainer, I actually have a fun little challenge for you. Take a quick moment. Look around the current room you are sitting in right now and immediately put this new spatial vocabulary and structural strategy to the test. Seriously, can you locate an item, use a precise spatial preposition, and name the fixture? Practice this daily, and your CELPIP scores will absolutely reflect your brand new mastery of the indoor environment. Keep explaining, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.